It was a crisp October morning in 2024, and I was savoring my coffee on the porch of my secluded Tennessee retreat, nestled deep in the Smoky Mountains. My name's Ethan Caldwell, a freelance web developer who inherited this cabin from my grandparents 3 years ago. It's nothing extravagant, just a cozy hideaway on 5 acres of oak and cedar, with a view of misty peaks that could make anyone forget the chaos of city life. This place is my sanctuary, where I code in peace, far from blaring horns or neighbors' late-night parties. But that morning, as the fog curled around the trees, a woman named Victoria Langley shattered my tranquility with a claim so bold it felt like a punch to the gut. She'd reserved my private property for a community celebration with 120 guests, and I had no say in the matter. It all started a month earlier, when I'd installed a heavy-duty security gate around my property. Don't picture me as some paranoid recluse. This was practical. The area had seen a rash of break-ins, targeting cabins with valuable gear. My tech setup, worth about $20,000, is my livelihood, and I wasn't about to let some thief walk off with it. The gate came with clear signs: private property, gate locks at 6 p.m. I even added an emergency override to keep things humane. It was manual, controlled by an app on my phone. Simple, effective protection. That Friday afternoon, around 3 p.m., I was tweaking a client's website when my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but curiosity got the better of me. "Ethan Caldwell, this is Victoria Langley, HOA president," a sharp voice announced. "Your cabin's booked tomorrow from 1 to 9 p.m. for our neighborhood appreciation event. We've got 120 confirmed guests." I froze, staring at my screen. "Booked? This is my house, not a venue," I said, trying to keep my cool. She barreled on, citing a 1987 HOA covenant that supposedly allowed community access for big gatherings. "We've collected $90 per person," she added, "so don't try to back out now." Before I could argue, she hung up. I was still reeling when headlights pierced the dusk. A silver SUV rolled up, sporting a live, laugh, love bumper sticker and a stick-figure family decal that screamed suburban cliché. Out stepped Victoria, mid-40s, with a flawless bob and a binder clutched like a weapon. She strode to my door, radiating the confidence of someone who's never heard no. "I have the documentation," she declared, thrusting the binder at me. Inside were laminated pages of some ancient covenant, highlighted like a lawyer's fever dream. "Section 4.1c, she said, jabbing a manicured nail at the text. "Community recreational access." I scanned at vague legalese that barely applied. "This says access may be considered, not guaranteed," I countered. "And my property isn't even in the HOA." She waved me off. "Technicalities. I've got 120 guests and their money. You want a lawsuit?" Just then, my neighbor Tom, a retired attorney who lives a quarter-mile down the road, wandered over. He took one look at Victoria's binder and chuckled. "Ma'am, I've checked the records. This cabin's outside HOA boundaries. Your covenant's irrelevant." Victoria's face flushed, but she didn't flinch. "We'll see," she snapped, storming back to her SUV. As she peeled out, Tom's expression darkened. "Be careful, Ethan. She's not the type to quit." That evening, around 7 p.m., my phone rang again. It was Clara, a kind neighbor in her early 60s, whispering like she was dodging a sniper. "Ethan, Victoria's been posting online about a luxury retreat experience at your address. She's charging $90 a head, $10, $800 total." My jaw dropped. $10,800 for my cabin, with its finicky Wi-Fi and single bathroom? "Clara, that's fraud," I said. "She's promising amenities I don't have." Her voice trembled. "She's got ways of making people obey. Maybe just let her have this one." I pressed her, but she clammed up. "Just be careful," she whispered and hung up. I called Tom, who laid out a plan. Let them come, record everything, and expose Victoria's lies. "When they see your basic cabin instead of a luxury resort, her scam will collapse," he said. It sounded solid. I spent the night prepping my phone to record and reviewing the gate's manual. I figured the guests would arrive, see the truth, demand refunds, and leave. Victoria would be humiliated. I'd file a fraud report, and life would resume. I even pitied her, thinking she was just a desperate schemer. How wrong I was. Saturday at 1:15 p.m., A convoy rolled into charter buses with Smoky Mountain Retreat banners, trailed by a dozen cars packed with families expecting a high-end getaway. I stood at my window, coffee in hand, filming as they unloaded designer picnic gear and kids in pristine hiking boots. One couple scanned for a check-in desk, while a dad set up a Bluetooth speaker, expecting the live music Victoria had promised. It was almost comical until Victoria arrived, megaphone in hand, like a cruise director on steroids. "Welcome to your authentic Smoky Mountain experience," she boomed. "We're embracing rustic luxury today, very exclusive." When a mom asked about the advertised spa, Victoria didn't blink. "Nature therapy is far superior," she said. Another guest demanded the catered lunch. "It's family style, very Instagram-worthy," she replied, spinning lies into gold. For hours, I recorded her deflections as guests grew restless. Kids whined about the missing pool. Parents hunted for non-existent luxury restrooms. Yet most stayed, trapped by sunk costs and Victoria's gaslighting. "If you're disappointed, you just don't get authentic mountain culture," she told them. It was a masterclass in manipulation. At 5:30 p.m., I grabbed my own bullhorn and stepped onto the porch. "Attention, everyone. Gate locks at 6 p.m. for security. Leave now if you want out." Victoria countered instantly. "Ignore him. We have legal access until 9 p.m. I'm the HOA president and let him scare you." Shockingly, people believed her, choosing her lies over my warning. At 6 p.m., I hit the lock button. The gate's metallic clang echoed, and for a moment, I felt triumphant. Then chaos erupted. Kids cried, elderly guests panicked about medications, and parents filmed the locked gate. Victoria, unfazed, pulled out her phone and started live streaming. "Emergency broadcast," she declared. "This man has trapped 120 innocent people." Comments flooded in, "Call the cops. This is kidnapping." As her viewer count soared past 1,000, I realized I'd been played. She wasn't panicking because she'd expected this. Her binder, now in the hands of Officer Reynolds, who arrived amid the uproar, painted me as a menace. It included twisted screenshots of my anti-HOA posts, photos of my gate labeled "trap preparation," and text with Tom that sounded ominous out of context. But then Officer Reynolds dropped a bombshell. "Ms. Langley, this property isn't in the HOA. You had no authority here." Victoria pivoted. "Irrelevant. He lured and imprisoned us." The crowd split, half vilifying me, half turning on her for lying about the resort. Clara arrived, tearful, and admitted to Officer Reynolds that Victoria had blackmailed her over a tax error, forcing her to lie about my threatening behavior. The truth started to crack open. Local news vans rolled in, tipped off before the chaos began. Victoria played the victim for the cameras, but online comments began questioning her story. "Where's the resort she sold us?" one read. "Officer Reynolds ordered me to open the gate or face arrest." Seeing scared kids and frantic elders, I complied, feeling defeated as the gate swung open. Half the crowd fled. The rest cornered Victoria, demanding refunds. Her scheme was unraveling live. I didn't wait for the police to sort it out. I became my own investigator. My contractor confirmed the gate was for theft prevention, not entrapment. Public records revealed $18,000 in undocumented HOA expenses. Neighbors shared horror stories. Victoria had driven out the Parkers with fake violations, costing them $50,000 in legal fees. Tom found similar cases in 3 Tennessee counties. Victoria targeting homeowners, forcing sales to developers. Clara handed over a box of evidence, texts, emails, and recordings of Victoria's threats, including one where she laughed about framing me. "The Caldwell place is perfect," she said to an unknown man. "Isolated, valuable, and he's too antisocial to rally support." A reporter, Emily Harper, connected the dots. Victoria was a clearing agent for a development syndicate, devaluing properties for cheap sales. Her bankruptcy tied her to a shady firm buying up mountain land. Clara's recordings identified the man Richard Voss, linked to organized crime. The FBI took over, raiding Victoria's properties and uncovering a multi-million-dollar fraud network. My cabin was slated for a mega resort that would have gutted our community. At an emergency HOA meeting, Clara's testimony backed by 20 others led to Victoria's unanimous ouster. She was arrested, still smirking, whispering to me, "This isn't over, Ethan." She got 7 years for fraud, racketeering, and extortion. Voss and his cronies faced harsher sentences. My $200,000 settlement funded a legal defense fund, and a $3 million restitution pool helped victims like the Parkers reclaim their homes. Our community transformed. Clara, now HOA president, enforced transparency. Monthly barbecues and a community garden replaced fear with trust. A year later, our Unity Festival drew 300 people, with real food trucks and music, no scams. Victoria, on work release, cleared trails nearby in an orange jumpsuit, a poetic twist. Emily's expose won awards, and a documentary, The Lock, inspired nationwide discussions. Sipping coffee on my porch, I watched Victoria glance my way, her wave a mix of shame and defiance. My girlfriend, Clara's niece Anna, laughed. Karma's poetic, isn't it? Tom said it best. No one could pull that stunt here now. We're too connected. By standing up, we'd stopped a predator and built a community that thrives on trust. What do you think? Was I wrong to lock that gate, knowing kids and elders were stuck? Could Victoria have been a pawn in a bigger game we still don't see? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button if justice feels good, and subscribe for more stories where ordinary people fight back. Who's the real villain here, and what would you have done?